Okay, you guys, so I wanted to start vlogging earlier, but I'm running late for church, so I'm on my way to church right now. I'm maybe like 2 minutes away, but I just wanted to check in with you guys on how the foundation looks. Right now it's currently 87 degrees and the high will be 91 today, so that is fairly low for South Carolina. But it's still nonetheless hot and humid outside, so I'll be checking in with you guys once church ends so you can see how my makeup is holding up. It is currently 12, I think it's like 12:12, so I'll be checking in once I leave out of church. I'll see you guys. And it is 90 degrees outside right now, so I wanted to come back to you because you know when you're putting kids in the car, which I have my niece and my son with me, when you're putting kids in the car, like you're literally drenching in sweat when it's hot out, when it's the summertime. So I wanted to show you guys that I am literally sweating right now. I even have a sweat stash on top of my real stash. And yeah, like I'm sweating right now. It's really hot outside, and carrying a car seat with the baby in it and a 3-year-old toddler, it's a lot. So I wanted to show you guys that I'm sweating, and just to show you that I am actually moving around and I'm active with this foundation on. But it is holding up so good. Like even amongst the sweat, like my foundation is still in place. It's still really matte, and I have the air going right now, and it's still cooling off. The car's still cooling off, but I just wanted to come in and check in with you guys. So far, so good with this foundation. Like, quick tip: if you ever sweating, do not wipe your sweat off while when you have foundation on. Just let it dry where it is. I know that may sound a little disgusting, but when you do that, you're gonna wipe off your foundation. So once it dries, it'll still be intact. So I'm not gonna touch my foundation anymore. But I'm about to head out the parking lot of the church, and then I will check in with you guys again. Okay. So I'm about to work out. I have my workout clothes on. I'm gonna take these earrings off, and you can see my baby, my son, in the back. And I have my fit board, and I'm ready to go. As you can see, I already have like a little dew going on right there in the cheek area, and then also like a little here as well. So like right here, a little on the chin, like normally where I get dewy at. But honestly, this is nothing compared to how my skin would normally look after being outside all day in this hot weather. I do have a go-to glam look that I like to do when I'm going out, but this may be something that may be for like daytime, because this foundation is really held up. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and work out for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then I will be back to check in with you guys and see how my see how this foundation is going. All right. Okay, so this is my last check-in. So I'm back to you after doing my workout. I decided to only do like 35 minutes of workout. I don't know, I'm just being lazy today, but I just finished my workout, and I didn't sweat a lot as normally as I would, but I did sweat. As you can see, like the makeup still looks decent. Like, let's see how many hours. It's 4:55 right now, and I've had it on since about, let's see, 11:15. Started doing my makeup 11:15, was done around like 11:45, and it is now 4:55. So my makeup still looks really, really good. So the next time you guys see me, I'll be checking in on my camera, and then we'll be starting from scratch, and we'll be I'll be showing you how I apply this foundation and the primer, and my thoughts on the foundation and primer. All right guys, bye. Okay guys, so I'm back. It is 7:50 p.m. right now, and I've had this makeup on since 11:30, and it's 7:50, so a little over 8 hours. Let's see. Yes, so about 8 hours. I've had this makeup on for about 8 hours, and as you can see, I am definitely oily. Let me get close up. I am definitely oily. My lipstick rubbed off because I was eating, but definitely oily, and yeah. Honestly, I can say that this makeup held up quite nicely. I feel like for it to be drugstore, it held up really nicely, and especially in this 92-degree weather. I'm going to show you guys how I apply it, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. So I'm just going to be using my Ulta makeup remover cloth. I love to use these cloths to wipe off my makeup because it does not irritate my skin. And they're really soft. I believe it's microfiber. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I applied the primer and the foundation. But first I'm going to go ahead and wash my face. Okay, you guys, so I'm back, and with a clean, fresh face, I already moisturized my skin. And I'm going to be applying the primer first. It is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Matte Primer. It states that this is a comfortable matte formula, preps your complexion for super smooth foundation application. And apply evenly over the skin and gently tap to set. This is definitely a matte primer. It reminds me of the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector. It has that same texture. It also has the same consistency, and it also is very matte. I probably can say that it's just a tad bit more matte than the Becca primer. I would recommend working with this in sections when applying it, only because it is very matte. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. I have mine in this shade Honey. Okay, so before I apply the foundation, I'm just going to read you the deets of the foundation. It says it's lightweight, waterproof, pigmented AF. It's a comfy liquid formula, comes in 45 tones that do not transfer. States that it is creamy, matte coverage that stays true for up to 24 hours. It controls shine, mattifies your complexion all day. It's non-comedogenic and suitable for normal, oily, combination, and sensitive skin types. Honey is a medium tan with warm undertones. I did have Nutmeg, which is a few shades darker than Honey, but Nutmeg, what I can say about this foundation is that it oxidized quite a bit. It oxidized about 3 shades darker. So I did have to go and return Nutmeg for the shade Honey. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the foundation. Right off the back, I can say the consistency is fairly thick. It's a fairly thick consistency. It has a little, it's creamy. I'm not going to say thick. It's on a thicker side, but it is creamy. So let's go ahead and apply the foundation. And what I recommend doing is when applying the foundation, I recommend spreading it out with your fingers first. Even coat with your fingers first. So getting an even coat with your fingers, and then going in with your foundation brush and blending it out. And also, what I noticed with this foundation is that you want to pat it in. You don't want to do any swirling or buffing because I feel that is going to disturb and create patchiness when you're applying your foundation. So you literally just want to press it in the skin. This foundation is so drying. Like, this is a very matte foundation. So I'm going to go in with my concealer. I'm going to be using my Black Opal Total Coverage Concealing Foundation in the shade Topaz, Truly Topaz. And I'm also going to be mixing it with my Superstay Better Skin Concealer. This is by Maybelline in the shade Medium. And I'm just going to blend my concealer out with my beauty blender. I mean, it looks horrible. So I'm going to try spreading a little bit of Fix Plus on my face. because honestly, I didn't have this much of a hard time applying the foundation earlier today. But I'm really having a hard time, and I don't know if it's because I'm using a different beauty blender or what. But as you can see, like I have a whole spot missing on my forehead. And my beauty blender is down. It is down. So it's like pretty much like whatever I'm laying down on it is picking it up. And it looks very cakey on the forehead. I'm looking a mess. So I'm going to try spraying my face to kind of dampen it and try to go back over and blend it out to see if that'll help, because so far I'm not liking the way it's turning out. Okay, I basically drenched my face in Fix Plus, so let's see if this helps. Put some right there. Maybe wet my beauty blender a little more. I don't know. I'm gonna keep going, but it's not looking good at all. I feel like I have foundation completely missing on my forehead. I was gonna finish messing my makeup off camera, but honestly, the foundation and primer really affects how everything else lays, in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and continue because right now I'm not really liking it, and it seems like it's like a hit and miss with the foundation and the primer combined. So anywho, I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna go in with my Dermablend Cool Beige loose setting powder. I'm just gonna wipe this. I'm just gonna wipe my forehead off because I am not feeling this missing spot right here on my forehead, and that's just, it's not cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off. Okay, so I reapplied the foundation on my forehead. I also went ahead and reapplied the concealer, and it still looks patchy in the forehead. Like, it still looks patchy. I'm gonna go ahead and proceed. I'm gonna go ahead and set my forehead with the Dermablend loose setting powder. Okay guys, I am back. I finished the rest of my makeup, and all the products that I use will be listed in the description bar below. So now on to my final thoughts. So I'm going to start off with the foundation first. So first off, I'd like to start off by saying congratulations to Alissa Ashley, who collaborated with NYX to create this foundation. She's here on YouTube. She's a really good makeup artist, and if you're not following her channel, you should. Secondly, I like to say that it's priced really well. It's $15, and you can find it at your local drugstore. I found mine at Ulta, so I like that it is affordable. I like the fact that it comes in 45 different shades. Like, you can't beat that. So if you have a hard time finding your shade in other foundations, you definitely would not have a hard time finding your shade in this particular foundations. 45 shades, that's a big accomplishment, especially for drugstore brands and even higher end brands, because you really don't have that much options in some of the higher end brands. But I think everyone is starting to catch on, especially after the Fenty foundation. So I love the fact that it comes in 45 different shades. It's also oily girl friendly. It's a 24-hour matte foundation, and the fact that it held up in this South Carolina weather where it's 92 degrees outside, kudos to this foundation because it really did wear nicely in this hot, humid weather. Now on to the cons. This foundation is very, very, very matte. It's almost a little too matte, and that's coming from someone with very oily skin. I don't know if it was super matte because it was paired with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer, but it definitely was very, very matte. It did not go on very well on the skin. It went on pretty patchy. and it also oxidizes. It oxidized about 3 shades darker. When I was trying this foundation on in the store, I ended up purchasing it, but I also had applied some to my neck area, and I went on shopping about my day. And I did not realize how dark it had gotten until I looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, it literally looked like I had a hickey. I initially had the shade Nutmeg, but I ended up going back a few days later to get a lighter shade, in which I got the shade Honey. But this one also, it oxidized as well, and it kind of oxidized a orange tone. So you do want to be mindful about that when purchasing this foundation. I would recommend maybe going about 3 shades lighter. Those are my only cons about the foundation. I do agree that it's full coverage. It's also lightweight. I cannot feel it on the skin. It doesn't do too much transfer, and it feels like a powder matte. So on to the primer itself. Now this primer is like Becca Evermatte Poreless Primer Perfector on steroids. This primer is so matte. I wouldn't say that it blurs pores, but it is very, very matte. It has the same consistency as the Becca Evermatte Primer Perfector, just a little bit more thicker. It's so matte, like you can feel your skin just kind of, that's exactly how it feels like on your skin. It's just, I mean, it just sucks any type of moisture, any type of oil out of your skin. And I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or bad thing or not, considering the fact that I am oily. For me to even contemplate that is kind of like, I don't know, that maybe it's maybe a little too drying for me. Like it's drier. It's more matte than the Becca primer. Like this stuff right here is super duper matte. So I may recommend using this in the T-zone area. This one is also about $13 to $15. I think you can't beat that with a stick, considering that you can pretty much match this with the Becca primer. I would recommend using this with the foundation that is a little bit more on the natural to dewy finish side. Wouldn't recommend using this with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I think just these two together are just too much. It's too matte. It's too matte together. Like this is super duper matte, and then this is super duper matte. Like they just don't work together. It's pretty much like meshing together, and as you're blending it out, it is becoming blotchy and patchy as if you're picking up the product after placing it down. So I do not recommend these two together. I know that they were formulated to work with one another, but I think that just too matte and too matte just does not mesh. That just reminds me of my Bobbi Brown, Bobbi Brown Longwear foundation, the latest release that they came out with. Like that foundation, you cannot use that with a matte primer. You have to go in with more of a silicone based primer that's not meant to be matte, or go in with a more hydrating primer, or this NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer. Like though it's just not gonna mix. But alone, I think these can be really great products. So what I'll do is I'll try using some of my more natural finishes, such as my NARS Longwear Skin Foundation. I think this will be perfect for that foundation. I'm not gonna say that these are a fail. I'm not gonna say they're a fail. I'm just gonna say these are to be continued. That's gonna be the terms, to be continued, when I feel like a product has potential but just needs to find their right match. So these are to be continued, so I'm going to keep you guys posted on these. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this new type of style. So if this is something that you want to see on my channel, where I do a kind of vlog style first impressions, you let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I see you in my next video. Bye.